Now think about those two. You could just say, oh, that just represents any holy, well-regarded. But think about those two. Elijah, he's out there dancing up and down the mountain and taunting the Baal priests and saying, ha ha, oh, you should probably yell louder. Your God's far away, Or maybe he's on the potty. No way,
It's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, right? This is the kind of guy Elijah is. John the Baptist, he's out there yelling at Herod saying, you can't marry that woman. She's your your sister-in-law or whatever.
Right.
Right out there, just yelling at him. You brood of vipers. These are the people, and people are saying that's who Yeshua is. So what does that tell us about him?
Pretty vocal.
Gentle Jesus, meek and mild. Right. You don't get confused with Elijah and John the Baptist.
By keeping your mouth shut.
So think about that. And in this context especially. So he says, okay, well, how about you guys? Who do you say that I am? And Peter, you're the Messiah of God. I should have said, because of all these niches and stuff, they call this the Rock of the Gods. So Yeshua gets really excited when Peter says that. Yes, you got it. Blessed are you, Shimon, son of a dove, Yonah. Because flesh and blood didn't tell you that. In other words, you didn't figure it out by yourself. You didn't learn it in school. God gave you a special insight to be able to really get who I am. And he says, now I can start. Now I can really do it. Now I can do the stuff. Because I got someone who gets it. And he says, and on this rock I will build my congregation. Okay, so the Catholics, we grew up that way. Catholics say, yes, the rock, Peter, Petros, it's rock, obvious. Protestants say, no, apostles, apostolic popes, no, it's his confession. Well, the Catholics are right. I mean, he said on you, so that's not wrong. He found someone who gets it, starting with you, so that's not wrong. And the Protestants aren't wrong. His confession was the thing that showed that he got it, so that's not wrong. But think about where they are. Yes, now I can start. I can really get going. It's not all me anymore. Now I can build on this rock, I can build my congregation. One of the most evil places in the world. On this rock, I can build my congregation. And what does he say next? If you don't think so, if you don't think he was there. And the gates of Hades will not prevail against it. I think for centuries we've said to ourselves, yeah, the enemy won't be able to attack us successfully. What did we learn earlier about city gates? What are they for? To keep people out. So if the city gates, if the gates of the underworld are for keeping people out, who's doing the attacking? If the gates of Hades will not withstand, who is attacking whom? Completely changed my understanding.
Yeah.
And also, once again, if you think, well, he would have gone there, then the next thing he says, he turns and he screams to the crowd. What crowd? All those rabbis that were around? What's the crowd doing there? And he screams to the crowd, anyone who would like to be like me, deny yourself. What are they not doing?
Yeah.
Deny yourself and be like me. Because why are they doing it? What are they hoping to get out of this ceremony?
Something for themselves.
Something for themselves. So
Right.
he says, what good is it if you do gain even as much as the whole world? Let's say this works for you. Let's just say that this is going to work. Still, what good is it if you do get even as much as the whole world and yet lose your soul?
You know what's wild about this? I just think about what an incredibly awkward moment that would be.
You said it. This is good. Now imagine
Yeah.
The
people that,
disciples and that going on, and him going, "Who do they say I am?" He would have had to scream it.
it says in Greek, shouted. We always get in a loud voice because we don't like him
He
being
would have
fired.
had to shout it.
He would have had to shout.
Because that much noise.
Listen
A
to this.
massive orgy going on.
In my own life,
Who do they say I am?
well, Elijah, John the Baptist,
Oh, man.
right? I was working midnight at a convenience store one time, all alone. One guy comes in, obviously sloshed, and he barely makes it over to the cold case. He's reaching for some beer, more beer. And I just gently walked up and put my hand on his shoulder and I said, brother, you've had it. It's time to sleep. Just like that, soft. And the guy started crying. And he said, thank you. Because no one was stopping him. He
Right.
needed help.
Right.
Think about these people. They're caught up in it. They're not thinking. They may have thought and decided to go there, but now they're just in it. They're caught up in it. And in the middle of what you're just caught up in, something completely out of the blue. And you're like, what? And then you realize you're in the mud. You're covered with crap. Everything, everywhere, goats. And you're like, yeah, is this it? It doesn't say that in the text anywhere, but just, really.
Yeah, and we do altar calls in church, and what we should be doing is going to wherever the craziness is.
This is, on this rock, I'll build my congregation. And he starts right then. Come be like me. He says it, he does it right then. I can't read that story the same anymore. You've probably been to New York City back when 42nd Avenue leading up to Times Square was what it was. What was it?
Lots of theaters and lots of prostitution. And
Mile and a half of nothing else.
Yep.
Every building was either a porn store, X-rated movies, strippers.
Yeah, I still to this day can't believe that our theater teacher took us there to see shows.
A mile and a half
It
of
was
it.
a mess.
Now, think about this. A group of Christian businessmen pooled their money and bought every single building a mile and a half. And because of rent control and lease laws in New York City, some of them had to own those buildings for a long time, just like they were. They ended up owning porno movie theaters. Now, if you proposed that in church, what would you get? But guess what's not there now? It's all clean.
Wow.
Every one of those buildings is gone. Not the buildings, but the business. Because someone said, yeah, I get it. We go there.
Right.
We don't
Right.
hope they will leave us alone. We go there. We change it. What is he saying? Stop it. You go there and cause them to stop it. That's what they did. I think it's just what he was talking about.
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah. Totally agree.
Now, that made me think about the 12. Who were these people that he picked? What did we learn about the abyss, the hell? These guys are fishermen, and they're the kinds of people that are willing to go out into the hell. Tax collector. He's willing to deal with the enemy. Right? To have some kind of a dealing. The zealot. Let's get him! Let's go! Let's get him! Right? These are the 12. He picks all these guys that are like that.
And not a one of those guys would have listened to a wimpy Jesus.
It just made me think about those guys and what a non-random group it was. Different, divergent, sure, but they all had something in common. They were willing to go out into places where most people were afraid to.